We'll call this council regular session to order. It is Wednesday, November 20th. The time is 7 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little bit of remembrance of a community member. And I've asked Councilor Sundin, or Councilor Sundin has brought to my attention as a historian, that Mr. Del Perry was an officer of St. Helens Police Department. And I'm going to have Brandon come up first. If you want to jump up and give what you have researched. And then I'm going to read a proclamation, and we are so blessed to have the family here today.
So I wanted to take just a few minutes tonight to introduce our community members to a man named Dale Alfred Perry. And on our next slide here, Dale was born in 1895, just outside of the community of Holton. Today it's off of present-day Pittsburgh Road. He was born on the original donation land claim of his grandparents, Francis and Elizabeth Perry, who were among the very early pioneers here in Columbia County. Dale and his 4 younger siblings attended the Holton School. They were also active in the Holton Methodist Church. The church that you see pictured here is located today where Don's Rental is. And as Dale grew, he was a very popular young man. His younger siblings looked up to him and adored him, and he had many, many friends in the community. Dale was especially close with his sister Beth, that was just younger than him. And the article that you see pictured here was the two of them when they were in high school, a junior and sophomore in high school. And they were being noted for their incredible attendance records at school. So having barely missed any school throughout their entire school career. And once Dale graduated from the 8th grade at the Holton School, he moved downtown here and began attending high school at the First John Gunn School. And you can see Dale here in this picture in front of the schoolhouse. And usually he's pretty easy to pick out because you just look for that big full head of hair. This is a picture taken inside of the John Gunn School, and this is a botany class. So they did a lot with plants and gardening. And here, this other picture, they're out on South 3rd Street in some kind of gardening project. And as you can see, Dale had many friends in the community. So a very active young man, very social. And he was also an incredibly good athlete. So an article here from the local newspaper, the St. Helens Miss. Dale Perry is one athlete who all St. Helens people might well be proud of. Dale has been consistent point winner in all track meets for the past 4 years. Last Saturday, he went to Eugene to take part in the annual state meet. He took first place in the shot put and third in the discus throw. He came within 1 1/2 inches of breaking the state record. While there, he attracted the attention of Bill Hayward and Bez Deck, coaches of track and football, respectively. So not only was he active in track and field, but he also played basketball, baseball, and football. This is Dale when he graduated from the St. Helens High School in 1916. He was also the senior class president. And as you can see in the program here, delivered the president's address at their graduation ceremony. Following high school, Dale went on to attend the Oregon Agriculture College, which later became Oregon State. As you can see here, he also played football and was a rising football star when somewhat suddenly he decided to quit and begin working in the shipyards instead. So this was when World War I was beginning, and Dale, like many of his classmates, wanted to enlist. But at the time, it was discovered that he was flat-footed and he was denied being able to enter the military service. But as you can see from the description here, when he registered for the draft, he was described as being tall, stout, with dark blue eyes and dark brown hair. So one of the things that Dale did do at college was he met a special someone. Her name was Elizabeth Smith, or Betty as she commonly went by. The two of them were married in 1918 in Portland and settled down back here in Dale's hometown of St. Helens. They lived in a part of the city that was up and coming. It was called Bungalow Park, which today is located on South 4th Street, just as you get ready to go up the hill. This little house is still there. It looks a little different, but it's still there today. So the Perrys became the father of their first child, George Francis, who was named after George's father and his grandfather. And as you can see here in the newspaper, they said he was a 10-pound baby boy. And you can tell by the photos that Dale was a very involved father, very happy father. And beginning in 1920, Dale began doing fire watch in the summers. Usually he was stationed out in the Trenholm area to detect fires. A lot of times his wife and son would accompany him and they would camp out for several weeks at a time. This was an article from 1920 or 1921. And as you can see here, there was no lookout tower in the Trenholm area, so Dale built his own. And here he's pictured 235 feet up in the air, where it said he could see all the way from Scappoose to Rainier.
Wow.
And when the authorities, the superiors saw this picture appeared in the newspaper. It was in the Oregonian as well as the local paper. They wrote him and said, "We appreciate what you're doing, but please stop." And a second baby boy was born, Robert Dale Perry, named after his father. And you can see an 8-pound baby boy. So again, Dale was elated to this new addition to his family. And in January of 1922, Dale received a new assignment. Here at a city council meeting, he was appointed as the sole law enforcement officer, the city marshal. This was a time when St. Helens had a population of just above 2,000 people. Again, he was the sole law enforcement officer, and St. Helens was growing. A lot of these buildings that we see downtown today were built during this period. And this was an era when the Ku Klux Klan received their charter in St. Helens. This was an era when lots of stills were being discovered out in the woods. Lots of things were going on in St. Helens during this brief time period that he served as city marshal. And as you can see, his boys were very proud and excited to get a ride on his Indian motorcycle. This is what he used to patrol the city with. And Chief Hogue tonight has something to show us. This is a pistol that is believed to have been used while Dale was patrolling the streets of St. Helens. This was donated by his family to the police department. And I hope that in the near future, when we have a beautiful police station, that this will have a place of honor to be displayed in our police station.
Yeah,
That is awesome. That section.
I was looking at this. This is a single shot.
Yeah.
And so they've come a long way. I don't know if this was Marshall Perry's or if we just had a really, really limited budget back then. I'm not sure.
Might have to bring those back. And see.
Caliber.
It's a 22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like a small one.
Yeah.
You can see that
It's a long barrel.
the holster here too has got his initials on it, which is kind of a neat touch too.
That is very awesome.
Thank you. So Dale had only served from January until November and suffered a devastating accident. So on the night of November 22nd, this coming Friday will mark 100 years since this accident. Dale was reportedly at Kelly's Corner, which again is near the area where Don's Rental is located today, and was heading downtown. It was a very foggy evening and ended up colliding with this telephone pole on the corner of Krause Way and Columbia Boulevard. There's a lot of mystery surrounding what happened. Some people suspect maybe he was chasing a speeding car, went off the road. Nobody really knows exactly what happened, but a passerby discovered Dale lying alongside the road. And with the help of the Reverend from the Free Methodist Church that's located just right there on the corner, they took him in, notified Dale's family, and within a short time, his wife and sister were in the ambulance with him, accompanying him to Portland. And Betty later related to her sons that it was so foggy that night that the ambulance had to creep along all the way to Portland to get Dale to the hospital. And unfortunately, he passed away later that night, about 11 o'clock. You can see his cause of death was listed as a skull fracture. He was laid to rest in the, what at the time was called the Oddfellows Cemetery. Today it's the Bayview Cemetery in Warren. Many people showed up to the funeral and also the cemetery to pay their respects. It was said that hundreds of people showed up. All the local businesses downtown closed for the funeral. Flags on City Hall and the school were flown at half-mast, and there were many flowers brought to the funeral. Everybody loved him and respected him. And these are his boys, George and Robert, who now were left without a father. Both of them went on to be amazing men. They were like their dad, they were great athletes. Both of them went on to serve in World War II and touched the lives of many, many people over the years. And in 2005, Randy Farger and Eric Bunday helped to revive Dale's story. And they were largely responsible for making sure that this memorial was placed in McCormick Park, where it still remains today. And tomorrow, I hope to place this wreath of flowers there. So hopefully in the next few days, if you get a chance to just stop by and pay your respects to Marshall Perry. But they also ensured that his name is now on the Oregon Fallen Law Enforcement Memorial in Salem, and also the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. So I'm grateful for these men and for their efforts in helping to preserve this story and ensuring that Dale was not forgotten. This is a little excerpt out of the newspaper that appeared in the St. Helens Mist shortly after Dale passed away. It's called Faithful to His Trust. That Dale Perry was faithful to the trust imposed in him by the city government when they appointed him marshal is acknowledged by all citizens. That he did his duty without fear or favor as he saw it is also an acknowledged fact. The oath of office was not taken by Dale as a formality, but as a sacred pledge, one he intended to keep and he did keep. To have citizens say he did his full duty is comparable to the master's parable when he said, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." Hundreds of citizens of St. Helens and nearby communities who came to pay their last respects said by their presence that they admired Dale Perry as a citizen and an officer, and that they believed he had performed the duties of both. The community suffered a loss when Dale Perry was called. So I'm grateful again for Dale and for his service. I can't drive by that spot of Columbia Boulevard now without thinking of him and his sacrifice, and also the risk that our law enforcement officers take every day when they leave home to go to work. I'm grateful for them, grateful for their service, and grateful for Dale's legacy. And at this time, there's a few people I'd like to recognize. So first off, Haley and Michael Starkey from Beyond the Forest for the beautiful flowers. But also I'd like to recognize some of Dale's family. Two of his grandchildren are here with their spouses, Linda and Chris McMahon and Dr. Matthew and Debbie Perry. We're grateful to have you here, and thankful for your help in providing pictures and information, and also the Columbia County Museum for some of this information shared tonight. At this time, I would ask that we have a moment of silence in honor of Marshall Perry. Thank you. And we'll now turn the time back over to Mayor Schultz.
Yes, and I'm gonna do a proclamation. Thank you, Counselor Sundin. Counselor Sundin brought this to my attention and said, "Hey, Rick, it's coming up on the 100-year anniversary. What do you think about doing this?" And I said, "Absolutely." So glad to have the family here too. I'm just curious, before I read the proclamation, but I'm a fisherman and we used to be able to fish the Milton Creek, and there's a Perry's Hole there. Is that the family? Okay. So, yeah, it's just up Hankey Road. It's a really good fishing hole too.
Stay away from their fish,
It's a,
okay?
it's a really good, was a really good fishing hole when you could fish it. So, all right. To recognize and honor, so I'm gonna do this proclamation, to recognize the honor and service and sacrifice of Marshal Dale Perry, killed in the line of duty while protecting the St. Helens community. November 20th, 2024, whereas law enforcement is an honorable, hardworking profession that diligently seeks to make our community more livable and safe. And whereas there is no greater sacrifice an officer can make for their community than giving their life. And whereas the death of the police officer shocks the very soul of our community, our government, and the very freedoms of officers have sworn to protect, and whereas the impact of this tragedy upon the officer's family, friends, department, and community is immeasurable. And whereas our hearts and thoughts go out to the many killed in action while serving to protect our community. And whereas Marshal Dale Perry died in the line of duty on November 22nd, 1924, when he lost control of his motorcycle on a foggy night and hit a telephone pole. And whereas Marshal Perry is survived by his wife, Elizabeth Perry, and their two sons, George, 5, and Robert, 2. And whereas November 22nd, 2024 marks the 100-year anniversary of Marshal Perry's death. Therefore, be it resolved that the city of St. Helens, or the city council of the city of St. Helens extends its heartfelt condolences to the family of Marshal Perry. He is lost but not forgotten. In there, I hereunto put my hand and cause the seal of the St. Helens be affixed to the St. Helens City Hall on this 20th day of November. So I'm gonna sign this right now. And honored to have you here. Yeah, and remember him. I don't know if you guys want to come up and just get a picture with it. Counselor Sunday, come on up. I'm gonna have you. Oh, the sticky off of it. And we're gonna end up here behind you. I'm just talking it all. Come on.
Get the wreath in there. Okay, perfect. Ready? Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys for coming.
Yes, he was an amazing man. I never knew all that until, yeah.
Thank you guys for sharing all your, family history and stuff.
Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and open it up for visitor comments. If you'd like to make a comment, come on up, state your name for the record, and keep it to 3 minutes or less.
Brady Freeheim. I wanted to comment about the appointment of David Rosengard to the Planning Commission. I think you shouldn't reappoint him, even though the Planning Commission has done it several meetings. And he also, when he applied for that job, he lied in his application about where he was living. I don't know if he's still living in that house, but I don't think you should be reappointed. I think that they are already looking for replacement people. They have applicants already. And I think that he should not be reappointed. I also am again gonna talk about the fireworks display, which you're seem to be moving forward with. I think that before you do that, you should do what you said you were gonna do and tell us how much money did we make off Halloween Town? And so if you're gonna spend 25 or 30 or whatever the number is, I wanna know what the profits are for Halloween Town, because that's where that money is supposed to go. And those profits, they include the money that was spent by the former contractor that is still owed, as well as 13 Nights on the River, which was paid for by the city, as well as the permits, as well as the fact that you went a month and didn't have a permit for the entire time. So I think that discussion should be held off until we know exactly what was the profit and loss from this event and whether or not there's money to pay for it.
Do we have anybody on Zoom?
Thanks. So why don't you ask? Cause I forgot to send them out.
Okay, if you're listening on Zoom and would like to speak, please raise your hand so we could, not seeing any. Okay, we're gonna go on to our ordinance here, and this is a first reading, by the way. So I don't need a. It's gonna move on after I get through all these digits. That's a lot of digits.
Then you got your glasses.
I know. Ordinance number 3305, an ordinance amending the St. Helens Municipal Code chapters 17.16, 17.24, 17.32, 17.36, 17.40, 17.44, 17.80, 17.88, 17.96, 17.100, 17.108, 17.120, 17.124, 17.32, or excuse me, 17.132. Was doing so good too. 17.136, 17.140, 17.148, and 19.20 pertaining to Oregon Measure 109, 2020 regarding psilocybin land use, Oregon House Bill 3109, 2021 regarding childcare land use and other housekeeping amendments, validity periods for land use decisions in particular. Okay. Resolution number 2033, a resolution establishing bank signatures as designating City Administrator John Walsh and Financial Director Gloria Bush as signatories.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number.
First reading, you don't have to.
No, he's right.
Oh, I
Go
thought
ahead
you
on the
said-
resolution. No, I'm in the resolution now.
Oh,
You're right. Go
I
ahead.
thought, I make a motion to adopt resolution number 3, resolution number 2033. A resolution establishing bank signatures and designating City Administrator John Walsh and Finance Director Gloria Bush as signatories. Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Fending.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
Approve and authorize for signature display agreement with purchase order with Western Display Fireworks for 4th of July fireworks display. 5, amendment number 1 to financing contract with Oregon Business Development Department for the Riverfront redevelopment project.
move we approve and or authorize for signature items 4 and 5 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve and authorize for signature 4 and 5. I know we're gonna have a little discussion on the fireworks part of it.
Mhm.
Well, on what we wanna spend. I would really like to see. I don't know what our waterfront's gonna look like, as far as. The construction area by then. I know the construction will be completed. But will tailgating be an option? Because that's always a good stream for revenue. That's the question. And it's also a 2-day weekend, because well, actually, it could be a 3-day weekend event. If really wanted to. 13 nights is Thursday, July 3rd. You could, City Hall's gonna be closed Friday anyhow, so you can keep the vendors right out front. They don't have to move. They just gotta close up their stuff. They're there for the next day. Definitely a 2-day event, but it could be even a 3-day event. And we didn't realize that the tailgating was gonna be as successful as it was when we decided to do that. And people absolutely loved it for $20 a carload. So I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I think there's plenty of opportunities for revenue. Cover the fireworks. That being said, it could be a 3-day event, definitely a 2. It's all in the same package, the Halloween town and fireworks never makes money. That's why we actually put it to tourism, because the city was carrying it prior to that. We said, well, this is ridiculous when Halloween Town makes so much money. And I'm sure that Halloween Town did well enough to cover if we want to spend $5,000 more. It's just my take. We gonna have a brand new waterfront, whether it's tailgating or not, and an opportunity to show it off. Everybody will be down here. Not everybody comes for 13 nights. When it comes to the 4th of July, we have a lot of people in the community that end up down here on the waterfront. So.
I agree with you, Rick. I think it's a great plan. And I think we can make it work.
My thoughts are kind of going back to what Council President Chilton said earlier. When I hear bigger and better, I think of a bigger and better celebration overall, rather than just the fireworks. I think from what I heard earlier, 5,000, it's not recommended that we extend the time because people get burnt out on it. I like fireworks, but you've seen one, you've seen them all. So are we gonna pack $5,000 more in there?
Oh, no, you have it.
I don't personally see the need for another $5,000 or $10,000, but I do think we should focus on having a better, whether it is a 2-day celebration, really making it a nice, patriotic, family, fun event. So that's my vote. I don't see the need of any more money for fireworks.
All good points.
We just said we would. You three were here. Russ wasn't.
Well, like I said, like we said, I think
I'm just
bigger
a
and
man of
better
my word.
doesn't necessarily mean, that doesn't mean that we're not people of our words, though.
But you were part of that meeting.
And my word is
And
saying
so
that
is
we're gonna
he,
do
and
something
so
bigger
is he.
and better. That
You
doesn't
were
mean
not.
that we have to light off
You're
$20,000 worth of fireworks. That means that we have to do something bigger and better to celebrate the 4th of July. And the 100th year, right, is coming up.
The next year.
Okay. All right, so it sounds like we got 3 that are for 25 versus 30. Is that what I'm hearing? All right, so that's what is still an approval, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it for order. Council President Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Sundin.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson,
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. I fought, people, I tried. Appointment to city boards and commissions, reappoint David Rosengard to planning commission.
Make a motion to reappoint David Rosengard to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to appoint David Rosengard, Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sundin.
Aye.
Councilor.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson, Councilor Hubbard. All right, consent agenda for acceptance, planning commission minutes dated October 8th, 2024.
Move we approve consent agendas, items, planning commission minutes from October 8th, 2024.
Okay, motion's been made to accept the planning commission minutes. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sundin.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard. Okay, city council consent agenda for approval, city council minutes dated October 2nd and October 30th, 2024. Hold on,
Item.
hold on.
Was there more?
OLCC license, 9 OLCC license and 10 accounts payable. bill.
The motion to approve consent agenda items 8, 9, and 10 is read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda for acceptance 8, 9, and 10. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sundin. Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Okay, do we have any work session items?
Animal facility license.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, the animal facility license. Who would like to jump in there? And make a motion? I think it needs a motion even if we are denying it. Right? Does it?
Well, we weren't sure if you were denying it because you could do just like
Oh.
have it to where she can't have the goose.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, that's the only thing that was out of code.
Do you have this written, a motion written down somewhere?
No, we don't.
Is it on here?
It's for Kathleen Johnston. Requested chickens, ducks and a goose.
Or the second.
So, yeah, what I was looking at, but, cause the neighbor did email. I wasn't in favor of, but I thought Gerardo said. Is it without a license, you can have 3 and 3? Okay,
Goose is allowed.
yeah, then application to
rooster.
keep 10 poultry, including 6 chickens and 3 ducks and 1 goose.
So my understanding was it's not allowed unless
She has.
you get this license, right?
License, yes.
And then,
Then she can have more,
and the goose is allowed, once she has the license.
unless we say it's not allowed in this license.
Well, what's weird is a goose specifically is identified in our code without the license, that you cannot have a goose.
Right. So this was kind of an
It's all-
exception to the code, is what they were asking for.
I think so.
But I'm looking at our
It's like the
application.
rooster, right? Roosters aren't allowed.
They're not even allowed with an animal facility license. We wouldn't allow roosters.
I thought that's what I heard earlier, and I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that, but he said with the animal facility license that it could be approved.
I think is why he recommended.
That's what I heard him say.
Yes. But by statute, the only. Without the license, you cannot have, you can have chickens, 3 chickens, 3 ducks maximum, that's it. And she has, apparently. At tonight's meeting, you will be deciding whether, and I'm gonna read it because I think it is public testimony and it pertains to this. Dear St. Helens City Council, at tonight's meeting, you'll be deciding whether to approve my neighbor's application. For a permit to keep 10 poultry, including 6 chickens, 3 ducks, and 1 goose. On their property on 2 or 4 north, I'm gonna keep that out of there. I guess it doesn't matter. And she is right behind. There is no reason to make exceptions to the current city code. In the case, the male goose produces extremely loud honks and screams day and night. A goose his size produces up to 2 pounds of potential toxic waste per day. He obviously does not lay eggs. There is no benefit to keeping the animal. It provides only a nuisance to the neighbors. I'm asking that my neighbors be denied, her permit be denied. And that was Cindy Abbott, who showed up here already once.
So I can read from the code under the animal control chapter. Under prohibited activities, chasing or harassing wildlife are not allowed inside city limits but as addressed by the Oregon Wildlife Commission. But ducks, geese, and other waterfowl in the city limits are considered wildlife unless registered through the city by a business license or conditional use permit.
Yes,
Well, it's not wildlife, it's a pet.
Well,
It's not
technically,
a wild goose out there.
it is wildlife, but
But you know what I mean? It's not in a creek or something, kind of living on its own, like some of the ducks do and stuff, right? So I don't know if that really applies to it.
My thoughts are we are making an exception to the rule because it clearly states there it's not allowed unless she has this license, and that's what's been recommended to us, that we grant the license. I don't know. My thoughts are she's met the qualifications. It's been recommended by our code enforcement. I wouldn't necessarily want it next door to me, but especially after hearing that audio clip. Um,
Yeah, I understand.
I did appreciate that he said if it is a nuisance, if it is making noise and there are further complaints, that the license can be removed.
Yeah.
And so, if this does go through, I would encourage concerned neighbors, if you do have complaints, to
Video.
get in touch with code enforcement and, yeah, let them know what's going on.
Well, if you live next to it or have a own property, you don't live next to it, you know.
I actually sold him the house.
Oh, really?
That's how he knows about the property.
Yeah, I, forget how many years ago. I mean, they've kept adding animals and I don't know what's. The piece I have next to them is vacant, so
I know
I'm
which one you're talking about. Yeah,
Second
you-
Street.
yeah, you did a really nice job on that house.
And the lot behind is on First Street,
Yes.
dead end.
Yep.
But, it does flood pretty bad in the winter. Because there's nowhere for the water to go.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, my lot's still brush and everything, but, I don't know. I know the gal that's got a complaint there and she's right above animals there and she's not, she's telling the truth. It's,
Yeah.
she hears it. So I don't know. I don't know how many animals you need, so. For the, you got a kid and they play with them and things, and, but you need, these are not the most friendly animals to be around.
Sure. They can turn on you.
Kill a dog in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
but ducks and chickens, a few of them are fine, but push the limits. Or a residential lot is a little bit.
I come back to, I mean, it is technically allowed with the animal facility permit. So I thought I heard differently earlier. That we're kind of making an exception to the rule, but we're really not. I mean, you can only have 3 ducks, 3 chickens, you can only have 3 dogs. If you have more, you have to get it. So I sign a lot of these. I do. There's a lot of people who have more than 3 animals. And that's what sparks this. So. Yeah, and Everardo has been out there and said he has not heard it. Every animal is gonna make noise, dogs are gonna bark. If they feel threatened or see a cat or whatever. But it's the constant barking when it becomes a nuisance.
I think you made that quite clear too.
Yep.
I mean, if we did approve the license that, you know, if there was an issue, just like any other animal is an issue, the license could be revoked, right?
And I'd really like to stand behind him just because.
Yeah.
He's already. Made his recommendation, so.
My thoughts are, at this time, they've met the requirements that we have, and unless we specifically have a rule saying no geese with or without a license, I think.
Yep.
That's where I'm at.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah.
We can vote on it.
It's just an animal facility license for,
Kathleen Johnston.
Make a motion to approve the animal facility license for Kathleen Johnston.
and a second. I'll second it. Okay, Council President Chilton,
Nay.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Yeah.
Councilor Hubbard.
Nay.
I'm an aye as well. So if they didn't get it, it was nay and nay. Nobody wants the goose in the neighborhood. Hopefully the goose will find
The goose
a
with the
safe
golden arrow.
place, a safe home. Um, I'm not trying to be insensitive and I
Sorry.
apologize to.
Well, how about the chickens and ducks?
Yep.
Cause she still has too many chickens for what she's allowed.
Yeah,
We
cause
can
that's
make
in
a
it now.
motion. I can make a motion to just approve the chicken and duck request. So I'll make a motion that we approve the permit for the chickens and ducks without the goose for Kathleen Johnson.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. I just hope we don't have no discrimination laws coming up now.
Is the goose gonna sue us?
Goose,
He may get an attorney. There's one just right around the
I
corner
was just
from
gonna
him
know, I know.
that
what
has,
it is.
is familiar with us.
it is an attorney in that house.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're in trouble.
Great, Mayor.
Okay. To approve the license with the ducks, 3 ducks and the 10 chickens, but not the, minus the goose. Council President Chilton,
Aye.
Counselor, Lindy.
Aye.
Counselor Gunderson,
Aye.
Counselor Hubbard.
Aye.
I'm a nay because I think the goose should be with the family.
Wow, you're offended about the goose, huh?
It's like,
That's the most conversation I've ever had about a goose in my life.
okay. Any other? Action items? I don't think so. Okay, let's go to council reports. President Chilton.
Okay, so I wasn't here last week, or last, session, but I did want to share some of the things that I learned at the League of Oregon Cities when I went and took note of, and some things that I'm hoping that we can, address in the next year. One of the things is, I would like to plan a work session or some type of a time for us to get together and go over council rules. That is something that can be ever changing, which is one of the things that we learned at the League of Oregon Cities. And there are ways to kind of change it up a little bit to make it kind of fit our needs a little bit better. So I'd like to have, in the new year, go over that. Also, review and update our charter, and I understand that that could be a grueling task, but I think it's one of the things that we are elected to do is to update our rules and our laws from time to time and to make sure that they do truly reflect the people that we're here to represent. So I think that's something that we should look at doing in the new year as well. I also want to talk about bringing back town halls or some type of a state of the city, an annual meeting to provide more community education and engagement time. I think we do have some neighbors around us that do it, and it's pretty successful. And I think it's something that we should and could very easily be doing here in our city. So I'd like to see that. I wanted to talk a little bit about Halloween Town. I think it was a very trying year for us just with the construction and new event coordinator, but I'm really proud of how it went this year. Given everything that has been happening. So I just want to give Treadway a shout out and appreciation to them for handling it in a very professional way this year. And I've gotten a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls and a lot of conversations from people in the community that were really impressed with how professional they were. So I just want to tell them thank you and that we support you going forward. I've also had a lot of phone calls. I do work with seniors in my day-to-day job, and so there's a lot of concern in the community about the senior center. But we heard a little bit earlier today from John, who's been sitting at a table with a lot of community leaders that hear the same concerns that we're hearing and want to do something to help the senior center. So things are being worked on. And I'm hoping that we have some solutions going forward and we're able to bring that service back to the community. It is a huge asset for seniors, and there's a lot of our senior population that doesn't have a lot of services. So I would like to see that continue and hopefully get better. I also wanted to give a shout out to Public Works from an Avamere resident. He recently moved here from Bend, and he is very active. He's out there, he's trimming sticker bushes out by the road and doing a bunch of work with his walker, which I don't really approve of, but he did ask me, he knows that, I am a city official. So he came and asked me, how do I get the city to, cut some of this property back? So I gave him Mohammed's phone number. Sorry, Mohammed, but he called Mohammed, and the next day it was done. And he was so impressed. Even coming from a big city like Bend, it's all you know, got a lot of money and they have all these great services. We have some stand-up guys. So thank you, Public Works, for listening to those phone calls and just being really present. I really appreciate that. And it definitely goes, it doesn't go unnoticed. I also wanted to make a very brief statement about what's going on with the high school. It is extremely concerning. A lot of people are really upset and a lot of students are really scared. And I just want to say publicly that, you know, I stand with the students and I believe as a parent, as a, you know, a St. Helens High School graduate, and as a leader in this community, that it's our job to be safe adults for kids and be a good support for them and, you know, make sure that they know that their voices are heard. So just want to say that. That's it.
Council Sunday.
Okay, we'll see if I can make sense of all my notes here. I did want to mention, we had a Parks meeting, Parks and Trails Commission meeting this past Monday. Howard Blumenthal reported on another successful work party at Nob Hill. I think there are 12 people there. And they got just about all their work done before it started raining. The Parks and Trails Commission is planning on coming before the city council soon, hopefully in December, to present their plan for the Milton Creek Woodland Reserve. The port was at their meeting this past Monday and shared the same presentation, their cleanup plans that they shared with us. And they are very interested in joining with the city to have trails and recreation areas throughout both the city's property and their property along Milton Creek. So they want to come to the council and report their plans and get some feedback. They have also expressed interest, just so you're aware, that they are potentially interested, just as we have a joint meetings with the planning commission, that they would maybe like one meeting a year where we can get together with the Parks Commission and they have more time to interact and collaborate. So that's something they might be bringing up. And also at that meeting, Nick Helmick mentioned that he is going to be leaving the commission at the end of the year to devote more time to family and his son. So we're going to miss him. Hasn't been there that long, but he's made a very positive impact and done a lot of good work while he was there. Also had the opportunity, I think it was last week. It was last week. Spent a day doing police candidate interviews. So that was eye-opening process. I enjoyed that, being able to spend time with Chief Hogue and the sergeants and just get a feel for that process. And we interviewed some great candidates. So I'm hoping some good comes from it. Also wanted to recognize what's going on within our school district. Just really, my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected. I want to thank the young people, also all of the adults who are out there advocating for positive change. I think every child deserves to go to school and to have a place where they're safe and there's adults that they can trust. And I think as adults, as parents and as grandparents, we should expect that when we drop our kids off at school, that they're going to be safe and taken care of. So I appreciate all the people working to ensure that that happens. That being said, I hope we don't let a few rotten apples spoil it, because I had some amazing teachers here in this school district and my kids have some amazing teachers now. And I'm grateful for the work that they do every day. And I just really appreciate them. One of the things a lot of people don't seem to understand, that when it comes to the school district and the city, that there's really not a lot of correlation. We partner with them on projects, but we don't really have any oversight for what they do. And so one of the things that I did is reach out to some of our managers that work regularly with children, including Suzanne at the library and Shauna with our recreation program, and just said, what are we doing to ensure that our children are safe when they're left in our care? And both of them got back to me within a couple hours and said, this is what we do. These are the policies that we follow. So, and John also immediately got on and started reviewing policies and seeing if there's changes that we can make to ensure that youth and children in our care are safe and protected. And I just appreciate that. And I'm grateful for the programs that we have that work with young people and the positive impact that those programs have, and grateful that we are able to be a safe place because that definitely is needed. Also grateful for our law enforcement, especially our detectives and the work that they're doing. I also want to thank Crystal for her informative and heartfelt message that she crafted last week. And again, saying these are the things that we can't do, but these are the things that we can do and the things that we are doing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Counselor Gunderson?
I wasn't gonna talk about the school thing, but I feel like I have to, and I also stand behind the students and for everything that Brandon, Counselor Sundin and Counselor Chilton have said about kids having a safe place, and I'm glad that the city has responded the way it has and made the statement that they put out there. I didn't know about Suzanne and Shauna's. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad to hear that too as well, so that we're staying, you know, not that I doubt we have an issue, because these are great people. But like you said, let's not let one bad apple spoil the bunch, or a couple. Let's, you know, bad things happen to good people. That's unfortunate, but it does instigate change. Another thing I'd like to bring up is we have an opportunity, I think, and I'd like to see this on maybe the next work session. However we want to work this out is with the library's got some space that they'd like to rent out to expand the makerspace. And I would like to see that done. The Columbia Economic Team mentioned earlier that there's not enough training for folks, for kids that are coming out of high school. And I agree with that. I think we need more programs like makerspace and things like that, where you're learning 3D printing, how to solder circuit boards, all those things all those skills that they can provide. And I think it's something that's really worthwhile for us to look in and start talking about and maybe get some discussions on. Because I believe we need more people that can come out of high school and go right to work. And they've mentioned where our deficits are, and well, we can't do anything about what the high school is doing. If the city can contribute to that, I think that benefits the whole community.
Yeah, what was it called? Soft skills? We're lacking?
Well, soft skills, yeah, I was kind of surprised about that, just knowing how to speak and
Yeah.
shake hands and do
Yeah.
all those things. And I'd never heard that term before.
Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I guess it's just something I grew up with, and it's.
Well, not all of us grew up in a berry field and picking strawberries, first learning that hard work ethic. Then throwing strawberries, then getting kicked out by the boss row because you were throwing strawberries and your mom just hot after you.
Shouldn't that be a mayor reports?
Wow, tell us how you really feel.
Joe's shaking his head, yes, because that's how we,
The shampoo with the strawberries.
that's what's our porta fund money and our fair money.
Yes.
You wanted to go there, you pick
So
strawberries.
I don't know how we want to do that, but I do want that on an action item, work session item, however we're gonna do it. I'd like to see that. I'd like to discuss that. I think it'd be good for the city.
Okay. All right, Counselor Hubbard.
And I've been talking to Gunderson and Suzanne about this situation, and we'll pull it together and work with the city and find out what has to be done for that, but it's a natural, and you're not gonna get a private company in there for anything but. So that'll be my mission, to bring these two together and John.
Yeah.
Got a check, small one.
Thanks, Hubbard.
See, I'm putting you on the spot now. I appreciate from all the agencies today that came forward and gave their reports. Those are really informative, and that's great to have that. So that's all I got.
All right. Yeah, again, I'm gonna start off with the St. Helens School District and definitely support the kids. There are a lot of good teachers out there, though. What was frustrating for me, because I was on vacation in California and watching all this go down. And I want to thank the St. Helens Police Department for all their hard work protecting our kids. I know it was it's not easy when it comes to those type of cases, and you have to cross every T and dot every I, and I know you guys did that, so thank you. But I was just seeing everybody's anger, and I was angry too and hurt for our community. That's what I was feeling. When I got back Saturday, I was still frustrated. I was still seeing this going on because it started on a Tuesday. And finally, Sunday night, I seen what appeared to be, 4 moms and a couple students, live on Facebook at the Village Inn. And I thought, what I heard in that meeting, I heard actually getting down to the root cause. And let's get down to brass tacks and how are we gonna, and I was encouraged because I finally heard a solution. All I had heard was hate and blame and definitely mistakes, a lot of mistakes were made. I don't think people maliciously did it other than a predator who does shit like that. They're really ultimately the ones who do that. That being said, what I heard in that meeting, I was so encouraged. And one thing I know from my years of being here on this earth is nothing gets done better than when you have a group of mothers that band together with a mission. That I've witnessed it time and time again, and stuff changes and gets done when you have a group of mothers. So I was really, really encouraged. I encourage that group. It was Kathleen White. I was trying to get their names, but I was also just enthralled in what they were saying and what they were, the meeting they were having. Urge them to move forward. It sounds like they're on the right path. They had a balance of teachers. It was very respectful. Yeah, I think that's what it has to be in order to, we've all witnessed a hostile meeting and how unproductive that meeting can be. You can agree to disagree on items as a council here, such as fireworks, such as a goose. But when we're done and we vote, we come together and we move it forward, you know, so. I gotta tell you, I said a big, huge prayer when I was in California for our community. That's how bad my heart was hurting, so. And I was frustrated. And I seen hope Sunday night, so I hope that group continues on. If they're listening or hear this. I definitely support what they have started, so. With that, I'm adjourned. Oh, I wanna thank Brandon, Counselor Sundin for the autobiography of Del Perry. And bringing it to my attention. And, asking that this be put on the agenda. That was a big deal. It was cool to see the family here. It was cool to see the old gun lever.
Very
Single,
impressive.
single shot. Hold on a minute. Hold on.
You're running too fast. You're-